The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hello 8th standard children. Hope you all celebrated Onam nicely. Are you all still in that celebration mode? Or have you all come out of it? Don't worry, there is much more time awaiting for you again for celebrations, okay? Many more festivals yet to come. Now there is Dussehra, there is Vijayadashami, Diwali, Christmas, New Year. All these festivals are waiting. They will come at their own time and we can even celebrate even more. Okay? Now I think you all are watching the videos of all the subjects and now we have started focusing on your learning. And the second lesson is basic constituents of matter. Okay? So what is the meaning of the word basic? What is the meaning of the word constituents? Of course you know the meaning of the word matter. So first lesson is over. I was very happy teaching you. I contacted many of you. You showed me the notes. Very happy to see completed notes as a teacher, and some of you were able to answer the questions also. Some children, they directly told me, teacher, I have a doubt, and I was able to explain it to them again. So even if you have any doubts, you are free to call me, children. You can call me, don't hesitate, okay? So shall I move on to the second lesson? I hope you will all again cooperate with me in the same manner as you did during the first lesson. So the second lesson is basic constituents of matter. What is the meaning of the word basic? You might have heard of basic qualification, minimum qualification, basic thing. It's the utmost essential thing. Now even as a human being we need some basic virtues, right? What are those basic virtues? Kindness, compassion, love, patience, dedication, commitment. All these are the basic virtues that each and every human being should possess. And that is what we all teachers are trying to inculcate in you. Okay? So now suppose you are building a house, constructing a house. What is the basic block that you use while constructing a house? Yes, it is a brick, isn't it? You start with one brick, then it goes on multiplying and finally a big house is constructed. Similarly in biology also, what is the basic unit of life? See, when you were born, you were very small children. Now you all are grown so tall. How is it? What has multiplied? Cell. Yes, cell is the basic unit of life. So in chemistry also, matter, you know there are three states of matter. They are, what are those three states? Solid, liquid, gas. These three states also are made up of basic units, basic constituents. Constituents means parts, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ components. So what are the basic units that make up matter? സോളിഡ് ആയാലും സോളിഡിനുള്ളിലും ചെറിയ ചെറിയ യൂണിറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. Particles, you have already learned about matter is made up of tiny particles, right? So now in this lesson we will learn what are those basic constituents and basic units called. Okay? Now in the first page we have shown a figure where there are many diagrams, many substances. You already know how to classify them into pure substances and mixtures. I will just read it out for you one by one. I know you will be able to tell the answers. The first one is potassium permanganate solution. You have studied when I added potassium permanganate crystals to water, the whole solution turned violet. But here my question is, potassium permanganate solution, is it a mixture or a pure substance? It is a mixture because we add water to potassium permanganate crystals. Again, salt solution, mixture. Sugar solution, mixture because it has sugar and water. What about plain water? It is a pure substance because it is only one substance. Next is copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution, we have copper sulfate crystals added to water. So two substances are there. So it is a mixture. Next is copper. You might have seen copper wires, isn't it? Brown color copper wires. It is only one substance. So it is pure substance. Next is carbon. One single thing. So it is a pure substance. Next is iron ore. You might have studied in geography. O-R-E, ore means what? You know minerals. Minerals are extracted from its ores. Movement deep below the earth we get ores. From the ores we get the minerals. But the ore, is it a pure substance? No. This iron ore that is given in the book as an example, it has iron plus soil and some other minerals, many other impurities also. So it is not a pure substance. Iron ore is a mixture. But if I ask you plain iron, just iron, then it is a pure substance. Understood? Iron ore is a mixture that is found deep below the earth. Next is sulfur. Sulfur is a yellow color powder that is also pure substance. So now I move on with this lesson. The first para, they have repeated what we have studied in the first lesson. That is, earth is made up of Chinese particle. Matter is made up of matter is of three types: solids, liquids, gases. Matter is made up of tiny particles. You have already learned in the first lesson. When I added sugar to water, the whole solution became sweet. Right? Okay. Now they have cited an example of camphor. When we burn camphor, what happens? Camphor is sublimable. It turns into gas. But camphor, it is invisible now. There is no camphor left. Suppose I am taking camphor in a china dish and heating it. Camphor is turning into gas. I can't see the camphor now in the china dish. But the smell, we get the smell. Why? Because the small particles of camphor have spread into air. Right? Similarly, if I spray perfume, the small particles spread into air and we are bound to get the smell. Okay? So why salt solution is salty? Because salt crystals are spreading into water in the form of tiny particles. So from all this, what you understood? We understood that matter is made up of tiny particles and they are spreading in their respective mediums in the form of small tiny particles. Clear? So in this lesson we are going to learn what are these particles called. Okay, now I move on. They have given an example of sugar. Okay, sugar is taken in a test tube. Sugar, now suppose this contains sugar. Sugar is taken in a test tube and it is heated. When sugar is heated in a test tube, what happens? What will be your observation? Observation is that When sugar is heated, automatically we find water drops on the inner sides of this test tube at the top. We find water drops here, and what remains over here is just black colored carbon. Now we find black colored carbon left at the bottom. Is it clear? So when we heated sugar in a test tube, we get water at the inner sides at the top of the test tube, and carbon is left at the bottom, black colored carbon. From this, what you understood? We understand that when sugar is heated, it splits or it decomposes into few more different substances. Okay? When sugar was heated, it decomposed into carbon and water. Sugar, when heated, we get sugar is split or sugar is decomposed to form carbon and water. Okay, so now in the textbook they have asked a question. What is formed when sugar is heated? So in the respective column you have to fill the answer. At the top we get water, at the bottom carbon. That should be your answer. No need of writing this in the file, you just listen to my class. Is it clear? Okay, so sugar decomposes to form carbon and water. Now in the next para down, it is about a scientist called Sir Humphrey Davy. He passed electricity through water and he discovered that water again decomposes or water splits into two. Water, when electricity was passed through it, it decomposes to form hydrogen and oxygen. Clear? So Sir Humphrey Davy found out that when electricity was passed through water, it splits into two, hydrogen and oxygen. And his finding was given solid proof again by a scientist called Henry Cavendish, when he was able to prove that when hydrogen was burnt in the presence of oxygen, we get water again. Is it clear? When hydrogen combined with oxygen, he burnt hydrogen in the presence of oxygen and he got water. From this, what you are able to understand, water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. That means water can be decomposed. Decomposed means breaking, splitting. Okay? So sugar is a pure substance. Water is also a pure substance. Both the pure substances can be decomposed by heating or by passing electricity. Here we heated sugar, here we passed electricity. So both the pure substances like sugar and water, we could decompose. Okay, now my question is this carbon a decomposable substance? Can we decompose carbon by any other method? No, carbon cannot be decomposed either by heating or by any other chemical process. Similarly, hydrogen. Hydrogen also is a pure substance. It also cannot be decomposed by any other chemical processes. So first I told you pure substances can be decomposed like sugar and water, and now I am teaching you that substances like carbon, hydrogen and oxygen cannot be decomposed. So from this you understood that there are two types of pure substances, isn't it? One which can be decomposed and the other which cannot be decomposed. Now I am coming to the major point in chemistry, which is the foundation actually. From this you are going to study in higher classes. This is the basic fundamental knowledge, okay? That pure substances are of two types. The first one is called elements. So what are elements? Elements are pure substances that cannot be decomposed or broken by any chemical Clear? For example, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. What are the examples for elements? Examples are carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Why they are called as elements? Because they cannot be decomposed or split or broken into further substances, any other substances by a chemical process. I will read out the definition that is given in the textbook and you have to write this in the file along with examples. This thing also you have to write. Pure substances are split into elements. Write the definition, write the examples. Now I will teach you about one more pure substance, but first let me tell you the definition of elements. Elements are the pure substances which cannot be further decomposed through chemical processes. Examples: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, iron, copper, gold. All these are elements because carbon ne namukku ini carbon ne nammal endu chemical process cheyidalum carbon nu vera oru substance kittan povilla. Carbon ne namukku ചെറുതാക്കി കൊണ്ടുവരാം, but vera oru substance കിട്ടില്ല. It can be made smaller but cannot be decomposed. Hydrogen also. Okay, but sugar, just look at sugar. We can decompose. Sugar heat ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ വേറെ രണ്ട് പുതിയ സബ്സ്റ്റൻസ് അല്ലേ ഉണ്ടായത്. അതുപോലെ വാട്ടറിനും വേറെ two substances we get when it was sugar was heated and electricity was passed through water. So from these we understood that pure substances, there are pure substances which can be decomposed. Okay, what are those substances called? They are called as compounds. So compounds are substances which are formed by the combination of two or more elements. Okay, see here, this is a compound, water, because it is formed by the combination of two elements here. Water is a compound because water is made up of two elements. First one hydrogen, another is oxygen. Now what about sugar, children? It is made up of three elements. Which are those? Carbon and two more in water. Which are those? Hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so sugar is a compound. Now compounds are formed by the combination of two or more elements by chemical processes. Understood? I will read out the definition and I will give the examples also. So now I move on to the next page. The definition is: compounds are pure substances formed from two or more elements through chemical combination. So the examples for these are sugar. Sugar മൂന്ന് elements ഉണ്ട്: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Sugar ne nammal heat cheyidappo endu kitti? We got carbon at the bottom, water at the top. So carbon thaye molle water. Water il edokku ullathu? Hydrogen and oxygen. So three elements are there: sugar, water. Then you can write one more example, that is sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is also a compound because it has two elements, sodium and chlorine. Now you understand that this is a compound. Later, as we move on, you will really know what are the two elements present in this. Then you can write one more example: ammonia. Ammonia also has two other elements, nitrogen and hydrogen. So ammonia is nitrogen and hydrogen. I'll teach you the formulas of two ones. Sodium chloride is sodium chloride. Two elements. So it is a compound. Sugar is three. Understood? So pure substances are of two types: elements where they cannot be broken or decomposed, compounds which can be decomposed, and they are formed by the combination of two or more elements. Is it clear? Okay. Now I move on to the next paragraph. It is about The origin of the names of elements. See, there are many elements on this earth. Many were there naturally occurring on the earth, and many were artificially prepared in laboratories. So, elements എല്ലാവരെയും കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു. But how can we identify each and every element? So, names must be given to each and every element, isn't it? Now, suppose, for example, if there are 150 students in A, B, C, D, E together, if I call out one, wish to call one child, I should know his name, right? Suppose if I call Arun, only that boy will stand up from that class. If there are two Aruns in the same class, I will call by initial or some other way, isn't it? So each and every element also was given name. But how those names were assigned to those elements, that is what we are going to study now. Now there was a Swedish scientist named Berzelius. He was the man who gave symbols for elements. The modern method of assigning symbols was done by the Swedish scientist Berzelius. Okay? Before that, only pictures were given as symbols. What are symbols? I will teach you afterwards. Okay? Now we go on to the next topic, that is origin of the names of elements. What is the meaning of the word origin? Origin പറഞ്ഞാൽ എവിടുന്നാണ് തുടങ്ങിയത്. For example, if I tell you the origin of Ganga river is Himalayas, means what? Ganga river flows from, origin from Himalayas. The source, the origin. Understood the meaning? Okay? So, there is a table. This table is very, very important and I am going to teach you now. You have to write this in the file because every year questions are asked from these two tables that I am going to teach you now. Is it clear? So, there are many elements. How many elements are there? I will teach you in the next class. Those elements. Now each and every class, all the children are given roll numbers, isn't it? Similarly, our elements also have a type of number, special number. They too have a place, a special table. What is it? I will teach you in the next class. Right now, I will just teach you about a table. Okay? So, I will teach you the table and then you must be able to tell how they were given names. Okay? Now, in this table, there are two columns. The first column is an element. Second column is the basis of naming. Basis means how they got their names. Okay. Now, the first element is polonium. See, children, don't be confused. This is the beginning. As you move on, you will be able to understand everything. First lesson also, you all are now clear, isn't it? Don't worry. Polonium. How did this element get the name polonium? Next column you have to write the answer. Poland, that is country. Name of a country, Poland. Okay. Second element is curium. From where did this element get its name? എങ്ങനെ പേര് വന്നത് ഈ എലിമെന്റിന് ക്യൂരിയം? From Marie Curie, who was a scientist. Okay. Third element is chromium. From chrome, that is a color. Fourth one is indium. It got its name from indigo. Indigo is the name of a color. Next is chlorine. Chlorine got its name from chloro, which means color. Then neptunium, it got its name from Neptune. You know, it is the name of a planet. Next is europium. From Europe, which is a continent. So I read out 7 names of 7 different elements, and next column we wrote from where they got their names. Okay, this table you have to write in the file. Now there is one more table. Actually, I asked children to fill it as homework, but now I have to help you out. Second column again, elements and the basis of naming are given. The first one is americium. You can also pronounce it as americium. Okay, americium. From America, name of a country. You have to mention America, put a dash, country. If you don't write country, if you just write America, marks will be cut. Okay? Normally, when we conduct exams, I used to do that. I always tell children, write the basics first. If it is America, I have to write country also. Second, Francium. Understood? What? France, country. Third, rubidium. Rubidium is the name of the element given. Why it is given rubidium? Because of its spectrum lines which are red in color. Now you are just in 8th standard. Just don't confuse yourself. Just write the name of the color. Ruby red. Okay? Ruby red. Next is plutonium. Plutonium is from Pluto, which was considered as a planet before, isn't it? Now it is called as a dwarf planet. It is not considered as a planet anymore, but still you can write there planet Pluto, right? Next is titanium. Titanium is the name of the element given. Why it got its name titanium? From Titan. Don't write watch, okay? Titan is name of the satellite of planet Saturn. Saturn, S-A-T-U-R-N. Titanium got its name from Titan, satellite of Saturn. Next is Mendelevium. Mendelevium is scientist. Name of the scientist was Mendeleev. Okay. Then Rutherfordium. Again scientist Rutherford. Clear, children? So I hope you will complete both the tables. I will read it out for you once again. Americium, America, country. Francium, France, country. Rubidium, color, ruby red. Plutonium, planet, Pluto. Titanium, Titan, name of the satellite of Saturn. Mendelevium, scientist Mendeleev. Then Rutherfordium, scientist Rutherford. So, in today's class, I taught you about, what did I teach you? Matter is again made up of tiny particles. Pure substances are of two types. Some pure substances can be decomposed, that means split. Some cannot be decomposed. Those that can be decomposed are called compounds. Which cannot be decomposed are called elements. Wherever element in other matter, nothing else. Okay? Any metal you try, you cannot decompose it. But in compounds, we can decompose. Clear? Sugar, water, these are compounds because I cannot decompose metal. Hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, sulfur, copper, these are elements because no other substance. I hope this is very clear. Now in the next class, I will teach you about symbols. What are symbols? Now you all are given names, right? You all are named by your parents, beautiful names. But some parents call their children Achu, Appu, Kutta, Kutten. Isn't it? You are given short forms, short names. Similarly, our elements. Now you studied how they got their names. How they got their names? They got their names from, some got their names from scientists, some from planets, some from colors. For example, chloro. I will teach you. The element has a name. They too have short forms. They too are represented by short names. Okay? So those short forms are called as symbols. Symbols are used for representing elements and they are assigned to elements in different ways. Don't be confused, I'll stop. Okay? So next class I will start with symbols. Call me if you have any doubts. This is all for today. Bye bye. Thank you.